So, hey everybody, welcome back to Two Nerds and a Podcast. Today is a very special episode because it's my birthday.
Woo! Birthday episodes. The first of two this month.
Yeah, I was about to say it's only like what we're like 2 weeks apart or a week apart,
Yeah.
something like
Yeah.
that.
But yours is a very special day because you were
Yeah, it's
born on what day?
April 1st and 19. So not only are we getting the April Fools, but also it's my dirty 30 this year. Try not to
Oh.
have an existential crisis about it, but so in the spirit of Dirty 30, I didn't have anything specifically thought out for this episode, but then Casey mentioned the other day, like maybe you could do something like 30 things you've learned in your 30 years or stuff like that. So I thought we'd just have a chat of things that I have learned about living on this floating rock in space, and living in the society that we live in. But because I was a 90s kid, I am part of that generation that's kind of like, half in, half out of the technology and social media
Mm-hmm.
landscape. Like for me,
A millennial.
social media didn't really start until I was in like high school. Like, and even then, before then, Casey had MySpace back in the day.
Mm-hmm. I did.
But like, so I would like, we'd always poke around on Casey's MySpace. But other than that, Facebook was kind of the first thing I had. And it was always a lot of family and like closer friends. Like I didn't accept everybody in my high school or anything like that because I didn't want to. um but I would just like to kind of talk about again what I've learned in my years of living. Not that I feel like, I know like in movies and stuff they always make it seem like people who are 30 or in their 30s are like adults, right? You're like a full adult. You
You're
can
so
rent
old.
a car and buy a house. Not that I could afford a house, but like you can like do all of these things, and that people in their 30s have it all together. They have their life figured out. They're like, some people are parents, some people are about to become parents. And I'm here to tell you that nobody knows what they're doing ever. Like, I don't
Mm-mm.
care how old you are. I know people, obviously, who are younger, they have no idea. But I also have had friends, coworkers, people I know that are older, still have no idea what they're doing, where they're going, what their plan is. So I think that's probably one of the most important things I've learned is it's okay not to know where you're going, what you're doing, because we live in a weird society. We live in a weird world, but it's very hard to accept the fact that, because I feel like, at least for me, I had a general idea of where I wanted to be by
Mm-hmm.
certain ages.
Yeah.
And um if I was talking to like teenage me, I'd be like, we've accomplished none of that. Like I like I honestly thought by like 27 I'd be like either engaged or married. I'm not. I thought by the time I was like in my early 30s I'd have kids. I don't. So it's just like these weird,
I
and
feel like
yeah.
I wanna say, like, I feel like that's kind of how I feel too sometimes, where, like, you have this, like, idea of where you wanna go, but, like and then, like, for me, my thing is, like, I had this, like, idea of where I wanted to go, and then my life took, like, a left turn,
Yeah, sharp
but then you
left.
see people, like, your same age that are doing that course that you wanted to do.
Mhm.
For me, it's hard not to, like, spiral on that because 'cause I'm like, "Wow, that's what I wanted to do, but now I'm doing this." But it's
Exactly.
okay with what I'm doing because I
Cuz
those people might not even know what they're doing.
yeah. Or to like the journey I've seen people like to get to that spot is not the typical journey. Like most people
Mhm.
will fall in love, get married, have a child, right? A lot of people I know skipped that first part and had a child, and then some of them didn't get married. They're just like living together. Some people did get married and they're happy about it. Some people got married, were not happy about it, and then got divorced. So everybody's journey to get to that spot is different, and that's okay. I feel like we, especially with social media, we just see the outside
Mhm, the
version
good.
of
Yeah.
somebody's life. Obviously, the pieces they
Except
want to
for me,
share. Yeah, except for
because I will
Casey. She
share
shows you
everything and
everything.
anything. I'm like, everybody will know when I'm spiraling because I
Yeah,
will post about
yeah.
it.
Or there's signs like when her profile picture goes missing, I'll text her and be like, "Hey, are you okay? Do you want to talk about it?"
I'm
She's
like,
like,
everybody will know when my life is going downhill and when my life is good.
yeah,
I keep
and
it
she'll just
real.
be like, "I love it," because I text her, "Are you okay?" She's like, "I'm just spiraling. Give me a few days," and I'm like, "I'm here if you need anything." Same thing with like I have other friends who go through like depression and things like that, and I won't hear from them for a while, so I'll just text and be like, "Hey, um." You okay? And they'll be like, yeah, I'm not okay, but I'm working through it. And I'm always just like, I'm here if you need anything, if you want to get out of the house, if you need me to bring you some soup, like I got you, fam. I don't, and it doesn't matter what state you live in either. I mean, Casey and I live 2 states apart. Wyatt and George live on the other side of the country in Tennessee. Like, I don't care where you move. If you ever need me, just let me know. And that's one thing I've learned kind of throughout the various stages of my life is you'll find people that if you're there for them, they're there for you. And
Mhm.
it's not reciprocated immediately, but you will find people that care. Like they are out there. You just gotta you gotta find them. You gotta get to know them. And I know that's scary making friends and being in new places, but I I went to school in a very small town, a very small community. Luckily, it was a very kind community and loving community. There wasn't really anything that I would consider horrible or terrible. I don't live in a rich neighborhood, but I don't live in a poor neighborhood. We're kind of middle class. Uh,
Rural.
yeah, we're rural. It was tiny
Very
town.
rural.
Um, yeah, we were way out in the boonies, but of course, stuff has been developed, so our town is growing
Imagine a town
all
okay,
of the
here,
time.
imagine a town okay, imagine a town with no stoplights. Have you ever been in a town with no stoplights? Because that's that town.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Very small.
Very small, but like I grew up with a lot of the same kids from kindergarten to high school, and there were some of them that I thought we would be friends forever, like best friends forever.
Mhm.
And then there's others that I thought, okay, we'd be friends, but we'll probably split after high school. And I've kept very few people. Like Casey is one of those ones. We've known each
Me,
other since
woo!
junior high. And
Mhm.
then the longest friend, actually, two of the longest friends. One is Natalie. I've known her since I was 5. And just kind of like every relationship, you go through periods where you talk every day. I mean, we survived her moving out of state in the 4th grade. And then, like, high school, we
Yeah,
didn't really
that's
talk to each other because we were like two different people in high school. Like, I was talking with her mom one time, and I was like, "Do you think we would have been friends in high school if we had lived in the same town?" And her mom said, "No, I don't think you guys would have been friends. I think the
wow.
fact that you guys didn't live close to each other kind of lets you come back together." So I've always considered her one of my best friends. I've always considered Casey one of my best friends. And then the neighbor kids, Travis, Ty, and Todd. I've known Travis since I was 3. Knew Todd
Yeah.
before he was even born. I think Ty was 1. And we're still good friends. We still talk to each other. It's mainly social media based, like a lot of my friendships now. But like I knew if I ever needed one of them for anything, they'd be there. But that's pretty much. I've maybe kept in contact with a few people from high school, but I remember because some of us went off to college, some of us didn't. I went off to college and I lucked out and got the best set of roommates ever, and I'm still friends with all of them. And then when I graduated college, I got a adult people job, a full time job, where I had to be responsible and I had to commute. And I remember because I was on the with the team that built the store, I was on the younger end. I don't think I was the youngest, but I was definitely like in the like youngest five people out of this group of 80.
The babies.
And yeah, and I remember when I first started that I tried to become friends with the people that I thought were closer to my age. Um, and I didn't really like, there was one that I was friends with, and it turns out she's like 5 years older than I am. So she's not as close to my age as I thought she was. But all the people that were like a year older, 2 years older, or a year younger, we were not at the same stage of life. Like we may have been close in age, but we were like a lot of them still had the attitude of, well, I'm young and dumb and I'm going to do whatever I want. And
Mm.
I've always been on the quote unquote mature end of the spectrum. And so I end up my three work wives that I ended up getting at this job are all, they could all be my mom. Like they are old enough that they could be my mother. Tammy is getting a little bit into like the teen pregnancy that she could be my mom kind of age. But like she could her oldest son is only 2 years younger than me, so she could still be my mom. And honestly, they are definitely helped me grow in my job and realize that I can handle being a manager and I can handle certain things in life, and that people, you're always going to find people that will take care of you like you take care of them. Um, but friends come in all shapes, sizes, and ages. Like I've never counted somebody out because they were not my age. The
Yeah,
only
because
time
you're friends with I just think it's
yeah.
funny because you're friends with, like, Tammy, George, and all them,
Mhm.
and friends with their children.
Yes. Yeah.
You're like, "I'm
Um,
friends with you and your mom."
yeah. Yes, and it's so much fun, and I think that definitely stems because obviously all of their kids have really cool moms that I like, so, like, I approve, and then vice versa. Um, but, like, I feel like people who are like, "Oh, yeah, I only like to be friends with people my age." I feel like that it's a very school related, like, high school and under is truly the only
Mhm.
time you're within 3 to 4 years of your age range.
Yeah.
Because, like, the second I got into college, I was immediately back on the younger end in all my classes. Like, most of my classes had people that were in their, like, I would say anywhere from early 20s to mid 20s, and then sometimes older because people came back to school. And I went to a university. I went to a 4-year university, and I was instantly diversified with people in age ranges, stages of life.
Mhm.
So definitely
And
like
community
always,
college is crazier. Like, if you go to a
yes.
community college, you have all walks of life. Like, I had somebody in one of my classes that was, like, in his 60s, and I was like, "Wow, I'm
Mhm.
18." And that's crazy because, like,
Yeah.
I didn't expect that in, like, a but, yeah, you can literally start college whenever you want to. There's
Yeah,
no
and you
stopping
can go
point, there's no
back.
rules.
Yeah, you can go back, you
Mhm.
can
You can
start
change things, you can
over.
change your major, you can do
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, and so, definitely always keep your heart open for people of any age. I did luck out. I like to count my lucky stars. I ended up with really good parents, and a good family, who have not only love and respect for me, but also good financial standing. So I haven't experienced any struggle that a lot of people have in their lives. So to be friends with people who came from that or even are still in that um, is always very important, at least to me, to have perspective on things, especially when it comes to making decisions on behalf of them, as far as like voting for things, both in our government or like in our college, stuff like that. So never count somebody out for any reason until they're like a jerk to you.
Mhm.
Like if they treat you with kindness and respect, treat them with kindness and respect. Or even if they don't treat you with kindness and respect, still treat them that way, because then you know you're doing whatever you need to do, and whatever their problem is, that's theirs. And they've got their own drama to deal with. You don't need that on your plate. Um, but yeah, I one of my favorite because we have to loop Supernatural in at some point in this episode, like every episode.
Obviously. Duh.
Um
It's like Twilight.
yeah. One of the things that the character Bobby Singer says to the boys is that family don't end in blood. And it's very true. I count my friends as my family more than a lot of my actual blood relatives. Like, I would do anything for my friends, and I have cultivated the right friend group that they would do the same for me. So always be on the lookout for good friends, even if it's just fleeting. I have some friends who, like, we were classmates in college, but they were like the best classmate I could have asked for. And that was
Mhm.
the entirety of our relationship. When we no longer had that class together, I never saw them again. We followed each other on social media, but, and you know, we're always cheerleading in the sides, but it was what I think we each needed at that point in our life. And it's okay that it was
And
just
internet
for
friends too. Oh,
internet
sorry. I didn't mean
friends.
to like just destroy your conversation. I just had to get it out
No,
because I was literally
yeah.
about to forget it.
Yes, internet friends are definitely super important. I know there's always a lot of, well, you don't know who they really are and things like that, and a lot of, because there's a lot of danger out in the world,
Mhm.
which is
But like me
unfortunate.
and
But
Wyatt are friends and I've never met him.
yeah, yeah.
We're
Um,
internet friends. I
your
mean, he
guys
knows
are
you,
internet
but
friends. Yeah, and your guys' connection is me. So like
yeah.
that's kind of cool. But internet friends are just as real, as important as regular in-person friends. All of my friends that I made at work, except for like two or three, are now long distance friends. They are now internet slash phone call friends because everybody keeps leaving me. And that's okay. Those friendships are still important. I call Tammy once a week most of the time. I talk to Casey now at least twice a week for the most part.
Mhm. Mhm.
um, and even though we don't hang out every day and we don't, just do like normal everyday stuff together, when we get together, it feels like no time has passed. And I love that. And I feel like it's important to realize that everybody gets busy. It's not that they've forgotten you or they no longer want to be your friend, but everybody's lives get extremely complicated extremely fast and then get uncomplicated extremely fast. So you just got to be patient with yourself, with your friends, because the one thing about life is change is inevitable. Stuff is always
Mhm.
going to change. The bad will eventually give way to the good, vice versa. The hard part is always accepting that change, but that's just something that, at least for me, sometimes I just have to like sit down and lay there and do nothing and spiral, and then have a good cry, take a hot shower, and then continue on with my day. But
Yeah. Sometimes sometimes that's all you need. Sometimes you just need to have like a rotten bed day where you just
yes.
do nothing.
Yeah.
Like I
It's
always feel like I'm go 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 like with work and like
mhm.
my like personal life. Sometimes I'm like I just want to doom scroll on TikTok
Mhm.
and rot in bed, and then I'll
Yeah.
feel better.
And honestly, those days are super important. I know I posted about this on my Instagram and I actually did a little vlog about it. I had a Friday off, and it's the first Friday basically since I got out of the hospital that I haven't had to do anything. I haven't had to work
Mhm.
on anything. I haven't had to record anything. I haven't had to edit anything. Like, it was literally just a blank day that I could do whatever I wanted. And was there a million other things that I actually could have gotten done? Sure, but they weren't the priority. I needed a day to just lay around. And I haven't picked up a physical book in so long, and I actually just bought one, and I was like, I don't know when I'm going to read this. Well, I went and dragged my little Adirondack chair into the backyard, slapped my butt into that chair with that book and a nice coffee, and I read all day. I finished the book in a day, too.
Wow.
Yeah. So I went from like not reading anything, like fan fiction, nothing for the last like 3 months, to finishing a whole book in the entire day while I sat in the sun.
And sometimes that's all you need.
Yeah, and it's honestly like the best reset because like now I'm ready to come back to editing, to continue recording for the podcast. I mean, I did a whole bunch. Like I made a YouTube for the podcast, YouTube channel, and updated all
Go
of that
subscribe.
information. So make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can listen to us there if you don't want to listen to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. I feel like we had another one, but maybe that was it. I don't know. The list of things that our podcast is available on grows every day.
Yes,
Um,
quite literally every day.
yeah, but like I literally after that mental and physical break, I was ready to come back. I was ready to sit at my computer and do all those things and adjust all of those things and record videos with Wyatt. And then we got invited to be on a podcast, so I started thinking about that. And it's just you got to remember to take time for you. And I feel like for people like me who are kind of slightly people pleaser ish, like when somebody says, "Hey, you want to go do something?" You go, "Yeah." And you don't even have to know what it is. You just say yes. And it's just a lot because that's like, I feel like one of my love languages is to give you my time to, even if we literally, if I come to your house and sit on your couch and watch a movie. I used to do that with Tammy all the time. Just go to her house, sit on her couch, watch her make dinner, and chat. So it's like that's my thing to give to people is here's my time. I want to do something with you. I don't care what it is. Um, so it's very rare for me to take that back. Like I always want to do something for somebody else. So always
Mhm.
remember to take, especially if you work with the general public, because I work retail. If you work with the general public, always remember to take a mental break from people. Even if it's the people you love, just take time for you, whether that's sitting in the bathtub for an hour with a book or your favorite show, or sitting outside all day with a book and a coffee. Like, take your time. We are here on this earth for an incredibly short amount of time that don't waste it being stressed or being upset if you don't have to. What else? This is a very serious podcast, and I'm so sorry. Ah,
It's a big leap. 30 is a big that's a big transition, I feel like, in your life.
I feel like 30 years of life. That's like a substantial amount. Because like when you turn like 18 and you're legally allowed to
Uh-oh.
vote, what
Uh-oh.
the frick do you know? Nothing. You know nothing. Like, I don't care what kind of life you live, most of the time you know absolutely nothing at the age of 18. You don't
Oh gosh, I
understand
know.
how like
But you think
voting
you know
affects you.
everything.
You think you know everything. And even when you graduate from college, you think you know a whole lot more. But especially when it comes to like voting for things that is enforced by the government, you don't really know how it affects you or affects anyone else until like
Mhm.
years later down the line. So like I've voted in enough elections and lived through what I consider enough presidents to know what I look for when I vote, what keywords, what kind of candidates I look for in, because I don't go by the party system. I could care less if you're Republican or Green Party or Democratic. Like, I don't care. Like, you have to be, at least for me, on the same ideals. And I feel like by 30,
Mhm.
most of the time, you know what those ideals are, especially if you work in places like retail or you go to college and you're exposed to all of these different kinds of people and different ways of thinking. You'll sit there and go, yes, I agree, or no, that's really dumb. And then you get to see the effects of those decisions played out. um, but on a slightly lighter note than that, I do, which I know I feel like people say this a lot, it's okay to be yourself. Like, you don't need to be anybody but you. Now, if you want to change because you don't like something about you, that's different. You are allowed to do that. But I know some people, they become, you know, the funny one, and so they have to be funny all the time, or
Mhm.
they, it's just, it's okay to be you. But I know a lot of people growing up who, I don't want to say bullied because that sounds like really hard. I mean, I did know people who were bullied, but people that were poked fun at because they liked certain things or they were, nerdy or a geek of some kind. And I mean, I never understood people who did that. You like what you like, and it is what it is. Like, if you look at Casey and I, we like so many different things. Like, sometimes I look at her and I go, "How are we friends?" Because we we are not a part of like the same fandoms or read the same kind of books. She listens to podcasts. I kind of sort of listen to podcasts, but like that's okay. But when she's super excited about Attack on Titan, Jujutsu Kaisen, Bad Omens, Avenged Sevenfold, like I get super excited that she's excited. And it doesn't matter if I don't like it or not. Like, be respectful to what people like, and it's okay for you to like what you like. I had to learn this for a while because again, you get people when I like Supernatural. Ew, why? That show was awful. It should have ended at season 5. Okay, well, season 12
Well,
is
you're
one of my
wrong,
favorite
first of
seasons.
all.
So, yeah.
You're
Yeah,
entitled to your
wrong.
wrong opinion, but
Yeah, but don't force it on me. I mean, I like Supernatural. I think the only part of Supernatural that I didn't really care for is the last episode because that means it's over.
yeah.
But like, and the same thing with Harry Potter. J.K. Rowling has had a lot of controversy over her views and beliefs over the last few years, but I still like Harry Potter. I still play Hogwarts Legacy. I am okay with that. Do I go out of my way to support J.K. Rowling and her beliefs, which I believe are wrong? No. But somebody, I've had internet friends who are very against, they are like cutting Harry Potter completely out of their lives. And I'm like, that's just not what I want to do. I still want to like what I like. And then I have a lot of friends who have strong opinions and strong personalities. Wyatt is going to be my favorite example of this because here's the thing. We're both very big nerds, but we are two different kinds of nerds. Like
Mhm.
Casey and I are similar in that we get excited for anything and everything that has to do with something we love. Like, we're always excited. Casey's always going to be excited for Jujutsu Kaisen, new seasons, new manga, all of that. I'm always going to be excited for something Lord of the Rings related, Harry Potter related, all of that. Wyatt is one of those people, he's hypercritical of everything. He does not most of the time consume media to enjoy. Like I watch things for pure enjoyment. Like I'm not here to analyze every single little bit. I've never been that way. Like people will watch certain shows and be like, you see the way he twitched his eye? It means this." And I'm like, okay, sure." Um,
Sure, sure.
yeah. And so Wyatt always criticizes a lot of things that I love. We were talking about Star Wars the other day. I love Star Wars franchise as a whole. Now,
Mhm.
are there movies or aspects of the shows that I don't like or I didn't care for? Sure. But I just won't watch that. I will not when I say I like Star Wars, that is not the part of Star Wars I'm talking about. But he, on the other hand, is hypercritical of everything and likes to look at what's wrong, what could be better, what could be fixed, what they should have done. Um, and I'm just not like that. And so I have learned to listen to his opinion and listen to his valid points that he has and still love what I love. He could critique everything he wants about The Mandalorian, but I am still gonna love The Mandalorian. And not just because Pedro Pascal is The Mandalorian. That is a
Put
big
that disclaimer
reason.
in there.
Yeah. Not just, it is a big part, but not the whole thing. Like we were talking about how Wyatt thinks they shouldn't have put Grogu in The Mandalorian. Like it should have been
Oh,
just like a hardcore Mandalorian series. And I told him, I go, but that I like Grogu and Din's relationship. I like that
I
this
know they're so
big badass
cute.
bounty hunter has to take care of this 50-year-old child and has to take him to his quote unquote family and their relationship that transpires, all the shenanigans and hijinks and everything else. And there's a lot of serious moments and touching moments. And so just learning to love what you love and take everybody else's opinion with a grain of salt.
Mhm.
Now, just because you love something, like I can admit there's a lot of things I love that are terrible. I love the Twilight movies, but are they good movies?
Same.
Absolutely not. Like they're not. Like object and I understand that. But I still like them. I still like the books. I still think certain things are romantic. I now as an older person think other things are kind of creepy, but
And cringy.
I and cringy. I still love Twilight. And that's okay. You have to understand that everybody's going to have their own opinions. And sometimes people will talk about things and you go, you know what, you're right. I never saw it that way, but I totally understand. Now I can never unsee it. And it's okay to change your mind. But if you let, and then here's the thing like, I enjoy mine and Wyatt's conversations, especially when he's picking apart stuff, because it's stuff that I maybe wouldn't have noticed. Or I
Mhm.
went, I thought something was weird and I couldn't pinpoint what it was, but he's so good at articulating his thoughts and what exactly like he's talking about. Um, but I also feel like when I point out I love this for this reason and I think this is really cool and this is amazing and visually this is awesome and he goes, "You know what? You're right. Like I'm getting too hypercritical. I get it. It is actually pretty cool." And I'm like, "Thank you." So I feel like our relationship complements each other that way. Whereas
Mhm.
like my
It's very
relationship with
balanced.
it's very balanced. Whereas my relationship with you, I feel like we are both like hype women for each other. Like if I'm getting super excited about something, you're just like, "Yeah, Jamie, get a queen," and I'm just like, "Thank you," and
Yes.
yes, and so you got to find like the people who balance you out. You definitely don't never want to tip the scale too far, and I've learned that different friends will help fulfill your life in different ways because like take Tammy, Tabitha, and George. I call them my work wives. They're also my mom friends because they are all moms. And I am normally the mom friend of the group. I will always
Yes.
make sure if you
Absolutely.
need $5, I got $5. We need a plan and a time schedule to stay on task, I got you. You need me to map out our whole trip to England, I got you. So I'm always the mom, which is fine. I've accepted that about myself. But to have a group of friends that are all actual moms all of a sudden try, basically mother me, they become the moms of the friend group and I just get to be the baby, is very interesting. I've never had that happen in a friend group. So it definitely was something different. It was, oh, pulling out my wallet to pay for lunch and then having Tammy slap it out of my hand and go, absolutely not. I'm paying for lunch. And I go, okay. And then, doing the same thing later with George. Oh, let me pay for coffee. Absolutely not. Slap the wallet out of my hand. I'm paying for, okay. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
And like, that's fine. And so I've learned just by who I am to be the mom, but to have to kind of unlearn that was interesting, and definitely helped me grow. You got to let people be who they want, but also, like, if you know that they're the mom friend specifically the mom friend all the time, know that sometimes they want you to take care of them the way they take care of you. So again, balance, which is
Mhm.
all life is a balance. And it always feels like it's unbalanced, but there are those perfect moments where everything is in sync and it's amazing. And just like cherish those moments. Another thing I learned, which I know I touched on this when I was talking about like how Wyatt and I, but try not to take everything personally because a lot of times it's not about you.
Mhm.
Especially if somebody is feeling like if they snap at you or they kind of crabby in your general direction, you're probably not the cause of that. Sometimes you are, and that is what it is. But um, it's
But if
it's
you're
just the
not.
way it be, yeah. But most of the time, it is not. It's not because of you. It just happens to be aimed at you. And I'm one of those people who most of the time in the moment I don't know what to say or nothing comes out of my mouth, but then when I go to bed I sit there and reanalyze everything I said and everything the other person said and when I should have said this or I could have done that, or good and bad situations. And you got to learn to let it go. It's in the
Let it
past.
go,
Let it go.
as
Fuck
she
it
would say.
all.
As
um
a I don't remember that version of Frozen, but
but you gotta remember it's not, even though it feels like it's always about you, it's not always about you. Just do
yeah,
it good.
just
Sometimes it just do it good. Sometimes it be that way. I also
it do be like
I,
that, Jamie. It do.
yeah. I have written in my little notebook, be a silly goose, which
Yes,
honestly should be
absolutely.
everybody's mantra. Just be a little silly goose. It's okay to be silly. It's okay to be goofy and to not be so serious all the time. We have so much serious surrounding us all of the time, especially as adults. You have a job that you got to do. You've got bills you got to pay for. If you've recently gotten a car accident, now you got to take all of that into account. So be silly. Do something silly every once in a while. It's good for the soul.
Or you can be an unhinged goose and just run around and hiss and bite people. That's okay
That's
too
true.
sometimes.
That is definitely okay. I recommend not doing that in the town you live in though, because otherwise you will be the resident crazy lady.
Yeah.
Which you might want that. That might be a reputation that you're gonna like cultivate and just be the town crazy, and it's fine. But don't take everything so seriously. Sometimes you just gotta cut loose and have a good time. This is why I like conventions, especially conventions surrounding nerdy things. So like Comic Con and stuff like that, because everybody is there to have a good time. Some people do take the whole cosplay thing a little too seriously, But for the most part, those of us who are cosplaying or not cosplaying, we're there to enjoy and have a good time and be super nerdy about everything that is happening. So, and it's okay to be passionate about stuff like that. It's okay to love to come into costume and go to an event with other people in costume. It's okay to go see the Barbie movie and dress up like Barbie. Like, it's okay to
Yes.
have
It's fun.
fun and to stand out. And I mean, everybody's going to be looking at you, and you have to remember they're only looking at you because they're not brave enough to do it. It's the only reason they're looking at you. If they want to say that you're weird, then by all means, who didn't love Weird Barbie in the Barbie movie? She was amazing. We all love Weird Barbie. But you got to be brave about certain things, especially when it comes to things you love. Um I feel like that's kind of all I have. I was going to point out because I know over the internet, a lot of people always like to point out that, wow, you're so basic. It's okay to be basic. It's okay to like the popular music and the popular movies and things that quote unquote everybody likes. That's why everybody likes
There's a
them.
reason they
You're
like
part
them.
of
Yeah, there's
everybody
a
in a
reason people like them.
yeah, and that's okay. Like, it's okay to be on the bandwagon. I've gotten on the bandwagon with so many things, and I'm still on the bandwagon. So, like, sometimes people just never leave. You're there forever. You're a lifer now. It's okay. It's okay to be basic.
It's okay.
But what were you going to ask, Casey?
I was gonna see, so we talked about things you've learned in your 30 years. What are you most excited for in your upcoming your 30 as a new generation? I mean, I guess not generation, new
New
decade,
decade?
new
Hmm.
era. What's there to come for 30-year-old Jamie?
My God, I hope a lot more than what's happening now. I think for me, I would like a career. I mean, I've been wanting a career change for a long time. I think that's one of the things that I kind of like every once in a while makes me real sad is because I I quote unquote did everything right. I went to school every day. I was always on time. I got straight A's. I graduated, with honors when I got to college. I did a 4-year degree in 4 years, like you're supposed to. I was in the honor society. I graduated with honors. And I've been working retail for the last almost 8 years. So, like, that is something that I will spiral about every once in a while because it's not where I thought I would be. It's not the
Mhm.
future I had envisioned for myself. And so hopefully my 30s brings about something of a change in what I do every day with my life. Because there is always a part of me that I would love to have this podcast, have my YouTube channel, be like the main source of income. Like, this would be
Mhm.
my job. Would be amazing. I know that it is a very slim chance. It's still out there. It's still a dream. Dreams are free. Um, but I'm hoping a career change of some kind is in hopefully the near future. Um, and I would like to see more of the world. I finally made it off of the North American continent. I made it across
Yay!
the pond.
Not me.
And and frankly, I didn't want to come back. So hopefully, I can continue visiting different places with different cultures. Um, it's such a amazing experience, not only to visit these places, but also to travel with friends. Like, I went with Christine to the UK, and we've been friends since college. But traveling with somebody is definitely different than just hanging out with them all the time. So that was a really cool experience to share with her. Um, I've traveled with my best friend Justine. We went to Seattle, and then I went to Oregon and hung out with Casey for a bit after that trip. That was definitely super fun. Um, but just kind of to keep growing the relationships I have and finding new ones. I'd also like to marry Pedro Pascal, possibly. Um, if he could do that soon, so I could just not have a full time job, that'd be great. Um, but yeah, hopefully a lot of, which is weird to hope for change, but I do hope for change because even though I am comfortable for the most part in my life, change for the better is always good. Um, I feel like I've had enough change for the kind of meh. I don't want to say bad. It was more meh than anything else, but something that just like switches my life around would be really nice. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's so weird, especially when you get people asking like, "Where do you see yourself in 5 years?" And honestly, except for when I was like a teenager, I never really know the answer to that question. Like, I try not to like I want to look ahead, but not that far. You know, like maybe general ideas. Like I would eventually like
Mhm.
to own a house. I would eventually like to, like I said, have a different job. I would eventually like to travel some more, like just general ideas. I would like to eventually retire, which I know for a lot of people is
Eventually.
a big pipe dream, and that normally doesn't come until you're like halfway in the grave. But like just general ideas I have. But as far as like, I try not to get too caught up in the details because I feel that for me personally, that's where I let myself down. Is I will get this very specific idea and then it doesn't happen and then I feel sad about it. Like I'm trying to reach 300 subscribers on my YouTube channel before my birthday. I've been trying to reach 300 subscribers for a while, but because it's such a small little dream that when it eventually doesn't happen, it's fine. It will eventually. It just might not be in the time frame I want it to meet, and that's okay. But like I again, teenage Jamie who thought she'd be married and have kids by now, like I know for a while I felt upset that didn't happen, but like things don't always pan out the way you want them to, and I do truly believe that there is some kind of plan for each of us. I don't know if it's laid out step for step because I definitely feel like certain choices pivot our direction
Absolutely.
and our path, but I do feel like there is some reason that I am here on this floating rock in space at this point in time. Although honestly, sometimes I feel like I belong in the generation before me just because of music tastes, celebrity crush tastes, stuff like that. But I definitely like as a millennial, I know we get a lot of crap thrown at us because of our generation and the timing of everything, but I feel like for a lot of my friends that are older, I am the in between them and their kids. And so I feel like I understand their perspective and their kids' perspective. And so I bring my own perspective on that. So being the bridge between those two generations for a lot of people has taught me a lot of things. And I don't remember where I was going with this conversation, but it's like,
It's
okay, the
okay, that
brain
happens.
has, yeah, I'm 30, it's allowed. Um, but yeah, but you're not too far behind, Casey.
No. Couple
You've
more
got,
years and I'll be there.
yeah, which is crazy. Like I feel like probably every person and every generation goes through this, but it just doesn't feel like we're that old yet. Like I know we
No.
are because we've been rotating on
I
this rock
know.
for that many years, but like I don't know. I just like this is not how I thought 30 would feel. But I also was talking, I think I was talking with Tammy one time, and we were talking about how mentally we don't feel the ages that we are physically. And I told her, I go, I
Mhm.
truly think mentally we stop aging the second we have to become a quote unquote real adult.
Ugh,
So like
yeah.
for me becoming an adult was when I graduated college. So I will mentally be 22 forever, because that is when I had to get a job and buy a car and do, have
Mhm.
a
Do all the
financial
adult
advisor
things.
and pay taxes and like stuff like that. So like for me, will probably always feel 22. Physically, I feel like I'm 80, but
Same.
mentally feel like I'm 22. Um and again, I don't know, I feel like a lot of millennials and like the people on the outskirts of the millennial generation definitely feel that way, with all of the quote unquote incredible historical events we've lived through that we didn't really want to live through, but we did. Um, so I feel like we just get a little bit lost to time there. But I may be turning 30, but 22 in the old noggin forever.
Yeah. Forever 22. I don't know about you, but are you feeling 22? Your brain is.
Yeah, I've had a lot of good things in my 30 years of life. I have had to live through quite a few bad things, but I mean, I think everybody does. I am eternally grateful for the life that I have and that I get to keep living it every day. I'm eternally grateful for all the friends that I have. They're basically family, and definitely grateful for the family that I do have. So now that we're getting all sad and weepy, I feel like we should maybe end the episode there. Unless you have anything to add, Casey.
um, happy birthday.
Thank
30.
you. 30,
Woo!
man.
It's not a joke either. This is real. This is
No,
real.
yeah, I am truly actually born. My birth certificate does say April 1st. Just so you know, I do think it's funny that every time I tell people my birthday is April 1st, they always go, "Really?" I'm like, it's the 1st of April. Like, it's not just like
They're like
holidays.
shocked. They're like,
They're
"Oh my
yeah,
god.
yeah,
That's
and then
impossible."
yeah. So I'm like, well, some people have a choice when, so if you have a C-section, you get to choose, quote unquote, when you have your baby, but most of the time people don't choose the day they're born on. It's just how it goes. It's how it be. I was a complete like I wasn't supposed to come until May. So I was like, joke's on you, ma. I'm here now.
I was
Uh
supposed to be I'm pretty sure I was supposed to be born on 420, but I decided to just, like, cook a little bit longer, so,
Yeah, you were
um,
comfy in your
yeah, I
your
was just
little.
chilling.
Yeah, you're like, it's cozy in here. I don't want to go out there. But yeah, and it's funny because I actually have had some people who their kids are born April 2nd, and they were like, "Oh, I definitely did not want an April Fool's baby," and I was like,
You're like, "Thanks."
"Why?" Yeah, first of all,
Thanks
thank
for
you, but
that.
second of all, that's like the best day to be born on, April 1st, because it's not like an important holiday like Christmas or 4th of July, but like it's a cool day to be born on. Just saying. It's also not all like "Meh," when you born on like Valentine's Day and everyone's like, "Oh my god!" Sorry, Lucas, I know your birthday is Valentine's, but
Or
everyone's, "Oh
Christmas. I feel
my
like
god!"
Christmas, that's a rough day.
Yeah,
Christmas or Christmas
or
Eve?
yeah,
Sorry,
Wyatt.
Wyatt.
But I think that's it for this episode. I'm so sorry, but also I'm not sorry that it was a very serious episode. But uh, I feel like we all need to reflect occasionally on this life that we're living, because theoretically it's the only one we get. But who knows? We all won't know until you die, and then I
Yeah,
guess you'll
we
know.
could
But
come back
then,
as a cat. You don't know.
yeah, oh, I want to come back as a dog. Be great.
Yeah, it'd be
Lay in
fun.
the sun, do
I'd
nothing.
be a cat because I would be, like, indoors and not wanting people to touch me, but just look at
Mm-hmm.
me,
Yeah.
and
You'd be like, I
that's
want
that's
attention,
me.
but please don't touch me.
Attention from a distance, please.
Yeah. Yeah, or maybe we'll come back as some crazy creature that lives in Australia.
Yeah, who knows? You never know. We don't know because we haven't done that yet.
Yeah,
We
we
are
have
still
not.
here.
We are definitely still living day to day. Um, but you've made it this far into the podcast. And as a birthday present, please subscribe to the podcast. Also subscribe to my YouTube channel. I think this video goes out technically the day after, but you're always welcome to subscribe. It's free,
And you
just in
should. It's
case.
fun.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a
We
fun
have a good
place. I'm
time. We have a good
there.
time.
It's a great
Yeah.
time. Lots of
Casey's
people are there.
there. Wyatt's there. Lots of supernatural, Harry Potter, gaming content.
So if you like this
Very,
content, you might as well just
yeah.
just scoot it
Just
over.
yeah, and then since you're already on YouTube, you can go ahead and subscribe to the podcast YouTube channel,
Yeah.
just to kind of boost us to everybody else. And we have some exciting things coming up. We will be guest starring on another podcast, so make sure to follow us on all the social medias to be notified when that happens and what it's about. We're very excited. Casey's also got some exciting newer projects coming up. So again, follow us on the socials to make sure you hear about those when they go live. And I believe that is it. Don't forget to rate us 5 stars too, because that
Yes.
definitely helps.
If you think
And
we're funny, and we are.
yeah,
So you
which we
should.
are. Yeah. Sorry if this is your first episode. I'm sorry you tuned in on a very serious one. You can watch the episode like 2 episodes ago. We talked about Mothman. So
Yes.
and
It's all over the
yeah,
place here, but we have fun.
it's everywhere.
You
We
get a
have a
little
good
bit of
time.
everything.
Yes, everything. And we will see you guys in the next episode. So
Bye.
goodbye.